Thanks for joining us. This is TVC News at 7. Let's begin with this latest development. The wife of former Deputy President of the Senate, Ike Ekweremadu, Beatrice Ekweremadu, has been released from a United Kingdom's prison and has returned to Nigeria. TVC News crew visited the legislative quarters of the Ekweremadus, but the gate was locked. Now, earlier, a reliable source revealed the development to TVC News, saying that Mrs. Ekweremadu returned to Nigeria on Tuesday evening, marking the end of her 6-year prison sentence for her involvement in a puzzling organ harvesting case. I recall that the former Deputy President of the Senate, Ike Ekweremadu, his wife, and one Dr. Obinna Obeta were convicted in the United Kingdom last year for conspiring to exploit a young Nigerian boy for organ harvesting. Following the trial, Ike Ekweremadu was sentenced to 10 years in prison. His wife got a 6-year sentence, despite citing health concerns during proceedings. Available report has it that the return of Mrs. Ekweremadu to Abuja is being celebrated by their supporters across Enugu State, with many praying for speedy return of the former Deputy Senate President back to the country in the shortest period of time. Well, let's just play this back and to this current to today, where she has now returned to the country. As we bring in the executive director, Lead Network Africa, Chukwuma Kenwa, he joins us from Enugu State. Good to have you join us. All right, so I understand that we're speaking first to our correspondent, Joke Adisa, who is live for us at the home of legislative quarters of the Ekweremadus. Joke, just give us an update as to what's playing out in that compound. What's the mood? Are people there? Just give us an update.
Yes, right now we're at the number 2 Jim Wobodo Street of the residence of the former Deputy President of the Senate. Here, the atmosphere is indeed very solemn, very calm. We have not seen much of activities that characterize this particular residence in years past. But what we have also been able to gather here is that the recently released Mrs. Ekweremadu may not be here. After all, the entire residence is very quiet. We have seen a number of policemen coming out. Some of them have even accosted us to ask some questions. But really, as we speak here now, we have seen some artisans coming in and coming out. We've seen a painter, and we've also seen some vehicles going in and coming out. But looking at what we have seen, it is nothing compared to when the former President of the Senate was in power. So this place is indeed very solemn, very quiet. Mrs. Beatrice Ekweremadu was a teacher. She taught as a teacher, and she also worked briefly in the office of the Accountant General of the Federation. So that much, and she's also been described as a very strong pillar for the home, for the family. And so these travels, before now, immediately, even before they were sentenced, before the judgment, we saw many interventions. The then President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, the then Speaker, and the Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, did intervene. Even the Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament also intervened to see whether they could find a way to give them some soft landing. But we did not see that happen. So, but now we are also not too sure if she had served our town for full. But what we do know is that she's now a free person, and whatever. Of course, the interventions in the past could have worked, but of course, you know that it is UK and it is not Nigeria. But whatever it is, the home here is very quiet, away from what we used to see. We should also forget that Ike Ekweremadu was a former president of the ECOWAS Parliament, and so he served as the Deputy President of the Senate. He's been in the National Assembly since 2003. And so it's really a very sad incident for the family. But of course, the husband is still in incarceration. So, but whatever it is, I'm sure the family will be pleased to see the matter come out of the incarceration of the prison. And so all eyes will now be on the patriarch feedback of the family to see how he will also be able to come out, and the doctor, of course, that was also jailed along with him. But here, honestly, the atmosphere is solemn, the atmosphere is calm. And so we'll see in days ahead if the woman will be. But what we can say that will tell us that the woman may be here, maybe coming, will be what we have seen, some rehabilitation. We have seen some artisans, painters, maybe painting, because we are not allowed into the residence. So that much is what we can say here now.
Absolutely, Joke. Thank you so much for that update. I'm sure in the coming days, we will know where she is and be able to get more details on her release. Our correspondent live for us in the nation's capital, Joke Adisa. Now, let's explore this further. Joke did mention, the intervention of ECOWAS and other diplomatic channels, but that proved abortive. Let's bring in Executive Director, Lead Network Africa, Chukwuma Kenwa. Thank you so much for joining us, Chukwuma.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I just wanted to start from where our correspondent left it off. She talked about the different interventions by ECOWAS, even our own National Assembly, to try and get them released way ahead of time. I wanted to get your thought on why you think that proved abortive, and then also what you make of her release.
Reasonably expected. Considering Nigeria's long bilateral relationship, a good one at that with the United Kingdom, it would have been expected that with the intervention of ECOWAS Parliament, intervention of the National Assembly, both the House of Senate and the Federal House of Representatives, the UK government would have
Mr. Kenwa, I just want to be sure that we still have you. It seems like we've lost connection with you.
Oh, okay, yeah, can you hear me?
All right, go ahead. You were making your point.
Okay, so like I said, something that it would have been reasonably expected that the UK, would have considered, given our bilateral relationship with